Hey, shout out to the universe, fam, and you know what I'm saying, it's Omar Adams, aka Big O, your wealth whisperer, and I'm here with Mr. Terrence A. Collins Jr., aka the Don King of network marketing, aka Don King is the Terrence A. Collins Jr. of boxing and promotions, aka the Floyd Mayweather of network marketing, because this guy right here is on another level. Like I thought I was on a level. This guy is on another level when it comes to thinking, doing, and pursuing. Just making it happen. And we're pretty much here to talk about, you know, what are you going to teach your children? Because if you didn't know, you're about to find out that the average child forms their belief system by the age of 7. So if you're feeding them negative bullshit, then you're going to have negative bullshit as children. And let's keep it 100. And that's not what you want, right? So let me go ahead and let Terrence introduce himself, and then we can dive deeper into the subject.
Well, thank you for that lovely, lovely introduction. I'm Terrence A. Collins Jr., aka Mr. Inspired Mind, aka the social media hype man. You probably seen some of my videos. I'm all over the place. You probably got a status like from me and didn't even know it, but your people did, or their people did, or their people and their people did. You see what I'm saying? I'm everywhere. And that's pretty much what it's about. It's about inspiring minds everywhere. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so I'm on a mission to change lives. All right.
Hmm.
I cannot die until education reform has happened, you see? And not all
Hmm.
education takes place in the classroom. I understand that. So I'm starting outside the classroom and I'm gonna get back to taking over the classroom. You see what I'm
Hmm.
and I'm definitely in blessed company right now because the gentleman that just introduced me. Oh my gosh, man! Have you ever seen the X-Men cartoons? Like
Straight up.
the stuff that they can't even have real people do. They needed graphic designers for it. This man is a juggernaut, all right? He opens when buildings fall. All right, he takes a couple of steps, and now there's a new fault line sliding across the western seaboard of the United States. All right, in California, the last time you had a sinkhole that happened in a neighboring state is because this man got out of bed right here.
Hey.
Whole other level, Big oh my gosh, man! Just tell the people a little bit about what's going on with you,
Oh man. So like I'm saying, man, we really just building this team. We're really just making a movement. Just got off this webinar, this Ray Higdon webinar, and a little bit about me. I was addicted to being average for the
Woo.
first 18 years of my life, and then I made a decision to become allergic to average. The reason why I was addicted was because I was in an average environment around average people doing average activities, getting average results.
Ooh.
Feel me? Living an
Uh,
average existence.
oh,
So, you know, when I was 18, I became an entrepreneur, and that's when I really found out about personal development. Like, it really truly shocks me when I meet somebody that's like 50 plus that has never heard of personal development, never listened to an audio program, never read a positive book, never watched a positive video. I'm like, well, what have you been doing with your life? Have you been watching the news and yelling at the TV, believing that you can change it with your words? Or, you know, I can't say you've been growing because you haven't been seeking out personal growth. Leaders are readers and learners are earners. And it all starts with the child. Really, it starts with the parent, because they influence the child. So, it's really about what are you going to use to influence your child. So as you listen to my voice now and really just, focus in on my words and allow them to dig deep into your consciousness, dig deep into your soul, because this is really what you want to hear right now. I want you to realize that You know, you have unlimited power and potential within you now that you can easily and naturally expand your experience and your awareness of whatever you want to have now. So, you know, as you paint a picture of your perfect child, I want you to actually, you know, see the traits, see the characteristics, see the activity, see them growing up as a full adult, see them getting married, see them having kids, see them having grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? And really just step inside that picture and really what did you teach them? Did you teach them to become average, or did you teach them to become extraordinary? Because the only difference from ordinary and extraordinary is the extra, you know, and the extra is the personal development. So you know, that's just a little bit. So what do you think about you know, children and education and programming them at a young age, Terrence?
Well, for me, this is a topic that, man, like, words, there are not even words
Hmm.
that can man, there's no words, no phrases. There's just no language. You know, if I could just take my heart and put it on the screen right now,
Hmm.
we would be able to cover this topic. Um,
Hmm.
and that's real. Um, you know, for me, growing up, I didn't really enjoy school. I wasn't a person that did their homework
Okay.
regular basis. You know, and I didn't know anything about the four different types of geniuses, and the fact that the school system is only catered to a small percentage of people. You know, but what I
Hmm.
did know is that I was not going to be held back. You know, I've always had competitive spirit, and
Hmm.
so one time I had a teacher that, you know, they said, you know, Terrence, if you did all your homework, you'd have a 99% in my class,
Damn.
but you don't, right? And I said, well, what's the point of homework? He said, to get you ready for the test. I said, but I have the highest test grade you've ever had, and I don't
Ooh.
do the homework. So why are you penalizing me if the purpose of what I'm being penalized over is so people can try and duplicate my unduplicatable results?
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, you know, for people to say that the best way to get ahead in life is to spend more time in a classroom, when people are being penalized for stuff that they don't need. And how do I know they don't need it? Because I grew up my entire life in school, and they're telling me I don't need the homework, but I should do it anyway. The
Hmm.
homework is not going to bring you any value, but you should do it anyway so you can have value. What? You not know what you're saying, right? You not know what you're saying? This is the problem right now with the education of the people. All right? Is first off, our education is left to teachers. Our teachers are not educators anymore,
Hmm.
right? Our teachers are they playing the telephone game in kindergarten, second grade, third grade, probably in first grade too. Then again in sixth or seventh grade and probably freshman year of high school, they have you play the telephone game and the teacher tells the first person something, and by the time he gets to the last person, the message is all messed up. But your teacher has never left school. They've been in school their entire life, learning from people who've been in school their entire life, learning from people who've been in school their entire life, learning from people who've been in school their entire life. Our education
Damn.
based on Prussian society, and that Prussian militaristic society collapsed. The school
Hmm.
system supported that society to keep it alive, and the society collapsed. You see what I'm saying? And so our
Hmm.
teachers don't have an explanation for why people like me don't need the homework, but why we need to do it anyway. Why? Because they
Hmm.
don't know what they were told from the telephone game. You see what I'm trying to say right now?
I see you.
The teachers can't even think as to why they're doing what they're doing to teach people.
Hmm.
They're relaying a message from somebody that died a couple hundred years ago.
Hmm.
Now, over time, this Prussian society collapsed, and its lifeline was its educational system. And then we look at the economy, and we wonder why it's not getting better. We look at jobs, and we wonder why they're going overseas. We look at the unemployment rate, we wonder why it fluctuates. We look at the number of people who are homeless, and we wonder why there's so many people homeless when there's houses. that don't sell because there ain't enough buyers.
Ooh.
We got more homes than people that can afford it. And the reason why we have more homes than people that can afford it instead of more people that can afford it is because we're taught that we can only afford what we're taught in the classroom. But who's
Hmm.
delivering the message and whose message are they delivering?
Exactly.
How you gonna teach me to live when the person who's teaching me is dead?
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Wow.
Me to work. Let me tell you something, all right? Ben Franklin didn't go to high school. He had worldly contributions by the time you started high school as a freshman.
Hmm.
George Washington didn't go to high school.
Hmm.
Politics by the time you graduated high school. Let's be real. This country wasn't built by people who went to high school and then spent 5 years getting a 4-year degree and then going back to get a master's degree. And when they finish and they're trying to find a job and they're sick and tired of being sick and tired 3 years in because they got all this college debt, 6 figures in debt, and they're struggling.
Hmm.
Put food on the table. Some of these people got master's degrees and they don't even have tables to sit the daggone piece of paper on.
Damn.
Let's be real. That wasn't George Washington's story. That wasn't Thomas Edison's story. That wasn't Benjamin Franklin's story. This country wasn't built on stories like that. That wasn't Abraham Lincoln's story. That wasn't John Adams' story.
Ooh.
Dr. King was an introvert when he got to college. That wasn't his story either.
Hmm.
Let's be real. That wasn't Gandhi's story. That wasn't Malcolm X's story. Napoleon didn't go through that. Napoleon Hill didn't go through that. Caesar didn't go through that.
Hmm.
Nobody they talk about in your history book had to get a 4-year degree to be in a history book.
Ooh.
And we're going to tell kids they can be whatever they want to be. And then we point to people in the history books and say, look, if they can do it, you can do it. Well, guess what? They did it because they weren't doing what you're telling the kid to do.
Wow.
Man, how am I going to teach you how to live freely? And I ain't never lived free myself.
Hmm.
How am I going to tell you how to get to work on your dream and I only know how to work on somebody else's?
Hmm.
Man, I'm telling you, I'll keep going all night.
Oh man,
I'll pass it back to you after this real quick.
All right, go for it.
All right. Now let's talk about the education. Let's talk about jobs real quick. All right, because most people are so educated when getting a good job, and that's so false because the people who are writing the books are still reading them and learning themselves. All right, you think Barack Obama's not reading? You
Hmm.
think Bill Gates isn't reading? Billionaires read more books than a person who can't get a job or the person who's trying to get a job. All right.
Hmm.
So education is not associated with getting a job, but since people want to make education out to be with getting a job, you know why that association was formed and why it was
Hmm.
formulated? Because Abraham Lincoln led a country to war with itself. When you're at war, your economy takes a hit. When you're at war with yourself, the only thing that happens is you destroy your economy. And when your
Hmm.
economy is built when everybody is a business owner, literally everybody is a business owner or an indentured servant or they are a slave. And you fight this war, and at the end of the war, you got rid of indentured servants, you got rid of slaves, and nobody is making any money. You have a destroyed economy, you need to rebuild it, and you lost your entire labor force. But you invented the factory during the war because you created steel so you can kill each other better.
Hmm.
Then what happened at the end of that? What brought the economy back up? They say a few good things about the Industrial Revolution. One, a bunch of jobs were created. Where else in the history do they talk about job creation? First
Hmm.
of all. Secondly, factories. Thirdly, those two things combined pulled the economy up.
Hmm.
Let's talk about this. And when you look at the history books, you might not have a great memory, you might have felt history, but I know every single one of you remembers this. In the history books, the Industrial Revolution, they talked about rats falling in a sausage factory. They talked about people falling in. They talked about children labor laws that didn't exist. There was no weekends. There was no minimum wage. There was no labor unions. They don't say anything good about the Industrial Revolution except for jobs were created. They said that you can avoid having the lows that you have if you come here and get a consistent paycheck. If you're too sick to make it, I guess your child ain't going to school today. And then to increase safety in the workplace, they added bells and whistles to factories so everybody started and stopped at the same point in time. So then what they did to feed the labor force, since that just wasn't normal, because all the children were used to growing up being apprentices and becoming business owners, they added high school curriculums. They put bells in schools. That way you spend your whole life while your brain is developing, learning to start and stop to a bell, and being hungry when they tell you to be hungry, being unhungry when they tell you to be unhungry, and giving you times in which you are allowed to relieve yourself, telling you what you need to learn, and it takes the power of choice away from it. Most people enjoyed reading until they got through school. When they learned to read, they were free. They start reading, and when they start making them read at the start of the whistle or the bell, and they made them stop reading when the bell stopped, it took the enjoyment out of it. Now learning becomes a chore, but you're going to tell me I need to learn to get a job when the people who wrote the books didn't even finish high school?
That's huge. Oh man, I didn't even know you was gonna go in like that, man. Like when I thought of what are you gonna teach your children, an image of what Marshall Silver said, who was a world famous hypnotist. He said that he's been programming his children since birth, like ever since they were pregnant in the womb, they were in the womb, like he had subconscious reprogramming audios playing instead of like Mozart and stuff like that. What they say is great for babies, which it actually is because it stimulates brain synchronization, left and right brain getting it together so it can function properly. What he did is that he just recorded his voice and was like, "You are the greatest child in the world. You are a gift to the planet. You are going to do great things." And that's what I'm going to do, man. Like when somebody asks my son and or daughter or twins or whatever I have, when they ask them, "How long have you been doing personal development?" they're going to say, "I've been doing personal development since before I was born. Since I was conceived, I was doing personal development." Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in the womb listening to my father, multi-millionaire, tell me that I was gonna be a multi-millionaire by the age of 10.
Right.
I was listening to my father and other greats, because I'm not gonna take all the shine, but it's gonna be 80% me, 20% what I'm listening to, so I can continually elevate their level. But it's gonna get to the point that by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, they will have listened to my products and my programs, which I used to program them, at least 100 times. So like when I put them to sleep in the crib, and instead of having like the little lullaby music to put them to sleep, I'm gonna say, what you want to listen to tonight? They're gonna be like, "Oh, I want to listen to that instant inspiration. I want to listen to that Welcome to the Success Club. I want to listen to How to Become a Millionaire by 10. I want to listen to, just different types of products. I want to listen to Your Wish is Your Command. I want to listen to some Law of Attraction, some quantum physics. I want to listen." Like they're going to be saying that at 4 or 5 years old. So what do you think they're going to say at 18? What do you think they're going to say at 45? They're going to be multi-millionaires, and it literally starts from before they're born to the age of 7, because before you reach the age of 7, you don't have any subconscious filter, so you literally just absorb your environment like a sponge. There's nothing, like you can't really make critical decisions like that, you know what I'm saying? But then after that point in time, you start to develop your belief systems, and look, we on personal development. We know that the 5 people you hang around the most, you become them, and you average their bank accounts. it is like 100 times more powerful for a child because they don't have access to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have access to audios and stuff like that unless you teach them exactly what I'm telling you to teach your kids. I'm telling you, and I'm inviting you. As a matter of fact, I'm challenging you to start teaching your kids personal development. To start, instead of reading fictional books
Hmm.
that it was all about different worlds and stuff like that. That's cool, but that's nothing but entertainment. That's nothing but an escape. Why not read The Laws of Success to your kid? Why
Right.
not read How to Win Friends and Influence Other People? Why not read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, like Ray Higdon was talking about? Why not read stuff that's going to actually make a difference in their lives?
Right.
And as you start to develop that idea and start to develop the type of stuff that you want to, allow your children to consume and then eventually produce, because a lot of people are buyers. They're in a buyer mentality. They're in a consumer mentality when it's really all about producing. It's really all about selling because everything is selling. You sell yourself on being alive. Your subconscious is like, you know what, I don't want to die today. And then you wake up and you make it happen. You sell yourself on getting out of bed. You sell yourself on cooking food. You sell yourself on literally every activity that you do, and nothing would happen on the planet without selling. Matter of fact, if you want to make a grilled cheese sandwich, somebody had to sell that store the bread, had to sell them the butter, had to sell them the cheese, had to sell them every ingredient, and they had to sell you the stove to cook it on. So why not learn to sell yourself in a more positive way? Why not stop treating yourself like a $5 hooker and present yourself as a high class escort? You don't, and I'm just talking about selling yourself. I'm not talking about, for sexual favors. I'm talking about the mindset. That's
Right.
a huge mindset. The chick might be exactly the same. She might be just as fine on the corner as the chick in the penthouse, in the
Right.
multi-million-dollar mansion. But she said, I'm worth more than that. So you're
Ooh.
going to pay me more. So I feel like you should start demanding more. And I'm demanding more of you because I know that you are more. Just like Jim Rohn said, man, shout out to Ray Higdon because he said the quote, but he said the second half of the quote. No, actually, yeah, he said the first half of the quote, which is don't wish life was easier, wish you were better. And the second half is don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
Yep.
Because and even Bruce Lee said it. He said don't wish for an easy life, wish for the strength to be able to endure a hard one.
Hmm.
And it really, I honestly wish, my father and people that raised me would have been on this when I was before 7 years old. And that's why it starts with you. If you really want to change the world, start with your children. Actually, start with yourself so you can, consciously, make that decision and then do that and then just bring it down to the kids. I'm only 22 years old. I don't plan on having kids till I'm at least 27 and financially free and retired, traveling the world. You know, with two wives, just because it's possible. And that's what I desire. That's what I declare to the universe. But yeah, man, that was just a little something. Did you get any nuggets from that, man?
Man, one thing that came to mind, and it goes back to what you said on your first go round.
Yeah,
Man, dude, because this is crazy. The first time I ever read a Robert Kiyosaki book, right?
yeah, yeah,
I was writing a book, right?
Hmm.
I was writing a book.
Hmm.
I took a break and I picked up this book that I've had for years. I've
Hmm.
never read it, right? You know, you put yourself in the right environment. Yeah,
Yeah,
things
the
happen, right?
growth. What was it? Miracle territory.
So I pick up this book and I start reading. And like, I'm not the guy like, oh, I'm going to just let me just read 10 pages, then I'm going to sleep. You know, I'm gonna get up, I'll
Yeah.
read a couple more. Like, no, I said I'm about to read the book. So I
Hmm.
literally read the book, and I was mad. Like, but the only thing I didn't have in here was some of the stories in the quadrant. This dude and got in my head before I got to writing and wrote this joint,
Hmm.
which is crazy. It's crazy, right?
Straight up.
But one of those stories, which inspiration from an earlier conversation
Got you.
with somebody, and then you touched on it, talking about when you're 18 or whatnot. See,
Yeah.
me, when I was 15, I decided I was gonna wait till I was 17 before I graduated high school, even though I wasn't doing homework. You see what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
wanted to be out of school so bad that I gave myself options to get out.
Wow.
Right? So, and this is the education with our children, the education with our youth. And I love my father. You know, he's a
Yeah.
great person. Definitely did it best with what he had. Definitely provided me with a lot. You know, he's
Hmm.
one of the people that school made sense for him, made sense for my siblings. That every there's five of us growing up in the house. Four people got their homework checked.
Yeah.
I interim report one time.
Straight up.
It's like, it's film and lit. Don't you just watch movies in that class? Like, how you got a D plus? I was like, bro, it's cool. It's only the interim. He said, no, it's not cool because if it was the report card. I said, but if don't exist right now, it's not the
Hmm.
report card, right? He's
Hmm.
like, well, what if it was? But you and I both know it's not. Like, you took calculus as a sophomore in high school. Yeah, like, there is no equation that adds up to this being a report card,
Yeah.
right? He's like, matter of fact, when's the last time I seen you doing your homework? I'm like, bro, it's been like 6 years. We just not on the subject, right? And so, and that's real. That's absolutely real.
Yeah.
My stepmom's freaking out because she always fought to be the top of her class, and
Yeah.
my sisters are like, "Oh, I'm gonna be valedictorian or whatever." We're gonna
Yeah.
honor roll, merit roll, in class, on every class on time. And I'm like, man, who are these people, right? But with them being so analytical, me not being, it just baffles me that I was allowed to make the college decision that I made. I
Hmm.
chose the school I went to because you need a valid college email address to get on Facebook,
Oh
right?
yes. So you joined Facebook like
Oh,
when
yeah.
it first started? Nice.
In the second year, I spent a whole year waiting. I wasn't waiting another 45 days. I said, yeah,
Exactly.
signed a piece of paper. It's a private school. I paid out of my pocket. I don't even know where the money came from, but the law of attraction right there. I just had what I needed when I needed it.
Exactly.
And so he was like, I was not interested the entire time. In our last half hour, he was like, yeah, if you decide to come here today, we'll set up your email address and all that. And first thing I heard, he said that, but what I heard was, you get on Facebook tonight.
Hmm.
And so I made a $30,000 decision because of Facebook, right?
Wow.
But I'm 17 years old.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
And that's kind of crazy. It was a decision I could afford at the time, but how many times are people making decisions they can't afford? And the people who should know better don't know any better because they're not educating their children the right way. They're not plugged in with their children's education more like it.
Hmm.
It might not be the same learning style, but you can always style learning. See
Oh.
what I'm saying? It may not always be the same learning style,
That's
but you
how
can
to
always
always
style
start
learning.
learning. Oh, that's yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and these are the same people I struggled to say A. Like, man, the hardest letter for me to write is A. I don't know why me and A's never got along. except for on tests.
Exactly.
Me and
Get
A had no rules
99s.
except for on tests. Because I needed to bring up me not doing my homework. That's how I had a piece of me time. So I played
Straight up.
and all that. So with the learning books growing up, I didn't start with A, right? So they figured that out, but not how to alleviate me from making a $30,000 decision.
Hmm.
So I go to school at 17. I had 12K in my account. Just so
Okay.
a month goes by, I'm down to $12 now. I was pissed my parents didn't buy me a cell phone and other stuff. I was never a spoiled little brat, but I
Yeah.
just felt entitled. You know what I mean? I
Straight
just felt
up.
entitled for whatever reason. I didn't get what I wanted, so I had all this money and I refused to get a cell phone. So
Hmm.
my pops, the week before my birthday, calls my boy's cell phone. He's like, "Hey, it's your dad. Here you go. I'm at the cash register at Walmart checking out." I get the phone. Hey, what's going on? He's like, "Is that a cash register here in the back?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "You got 12 bucks left in your account." I'm like, "Hold on, wait. I need you to take that off and that off and no. I want that." He's like, "Are you serious? Don't buy nothing else." I want that. And so as we headed back to the school, back to the dorms that night,
Yeah.
it hit me. I'm like, man, my whole life just ended.
Hmm.
Cause I had work study, but I didn't want to study work. So I took it off.
Hmm.
You know, I said, man, that's not for me. So I turned it down. And my dad was like, you better start taking yourself there. And I was like, I can't do it.
Hmm.
And for my birthday, which was a couple days later, I got 45 bucks. So I had less than 60 bucks to my name.
Got you.
First thing I did when I got back there is we went to Walmart
Hmm.
and I spent 45 bucks on junk food. And my boys were like, dude, you don't get it. Like, what are you about to do? Like, your whole semester is done. Like, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to be hungry. You're not going to be able to do nothing. Like, you're going to be miserable. You don't even
Yeah.
eat most of this stuff. Like, 80% of what you're buying, you don't even eat. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what happened was we got back to the school. I took this junk I don't even eat up to my dorm room. Went to the computer lab, printed some flyers out. All right. I put it on the vending machine. So I started off with $150 in fines in my first 15 minutes in business. All
Hmm.
right.
Oh, fines. Could you put it on that? Could you put it on the vending machine?
Right over the
I
money
was, I was
slot.
like, I don't think you can do that.
Right over the money slot. Snack man open for business, right?
Nice.
So now before I get into this, back to the Robert K book, which is how this all started.
I got you.
What I did there.
I got you. Open loops.
Had a conversation with a parent, and we're talking about raising your children right, educating them about money, just giving them money as reward for chores, and still teach them to have that employee broke mindset. And there's so many adverse ways to go about it. So this kid went out, he mowed his grass because he wanted a bike, right? And then he got the money he needed for his bike, and then his dad took his money. His dad said, "I need you to go find something that's gonna bring you a return on your investment and can pay for the bike for you." So the kid was mad at first, and then he was confused at first, and then he started thinking, and he came back not that long later. And what he had done is he purchased a vending machine at a golf course, and he only had two products. But he
Hmm.
made enough to be able to get his bike, and instead of getting the bike, he got another machine, and he diversified his product line. So by the time a year rolled around, him and his girlfriend, because he re-educated his girlfriend also, they had balance sheets, they had savings accounts, they had
Hmm.
investment accounts, they understood a financial report card, which most people don't understand the financial report card. I'll touch on
Hmm.
that real quick before I get off of here, but I'm staying on the topic real quick. So now they have these assets, and an asset is something that brings you money. Your house is only an asset for the bank because your house doesn't bring you money. It's a liability. You will cost you money. The bank,
Hmm.
people who control the money, when something you have is an asset to them, they're going to brainwash you to think it's an asset, so you don't want to lose it. Because as long as you
Hmm.
don't lose it, they have a guaranteed residual income off of you, right?
Hmm.
So what he did instead is he had a guaranteed residual income off of these vending machines that he had at luxury resorts. All right.
Okay.
Every time he would go and empty the machine and refill the machine, then these guys who were balling would be like, "Oh, that's cute. Let me support his business endeavors because these are all places where businessmen go anyway." You see, he didn't even
Yeah.
put his vending machines with broke-minded people, and this kid was just in school.
Hmm.
Say he was in like middle school or something. He understood this concept, but yet people age 65 are waiting on their check every month.
Hmm.
How are they gonna educate the children when the children understand more than they do?
Hmm.
See, what's going on is we're de-educating our children, but because I refuse to be taught,
Hmm.
I embrace being educated, but I refuse being taught. If you don't
Hmm.
get that, keep coming back. You'll hear it later. It's not
Straight up.
that says it's something you might be by yourself. It might be 10 years down the road, but you understand what it means to embrace being educated, but hate being taught. You see what I'm saying?
I hear
So
you.
back to the vending machine. I start $150 in fines. I've got
Yeah.
5 weeks left in my name in case we went to Taco Bell that night, right?
Okay.
And this was like a Tuesday. That weekend, I spent $700 in one trip to the mall out of state.
Okay.
I didn't even have a car. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have no means to get anywhere off of campus. Spent $700 on one trip to the mall out of state. All right. I want to say about $500 and that was actually shades. You see, I got my Versace's on there and all my videos. You know, I don't. I love my shades, right?
Straight up. The
But
Morpheus.
I mean, I'm just. It is what it is, you know. And it's like, how can this guy who was down to his last 12 bucks and still could not spend money on something? How in the heck can he go out and spend $500 on one trip to the mall the same week?
Hmm.
And it was at this age of 17 when I said, look, man, it's not that I don't get it, it's that you don't get it. You don't
Hmm.
get it. Don't change your lifestyle, change your income. Be
Hmm.
you. If you can't afford to be you, who can you be? What can you afford to be? Who can you afford to be? If you can't afford to be you, then what's the point in being here?
Hmm. That's real.
That's real. Dude, I lost everything at one point. I'm staying in a car with no heat in the middle of a cold Ohio winter. I'm waking up, pulling the door handle and kicking at the same time to knock the ice off the door to get out the car.
Wow.
And I said, man, this sun be reflecting off of this ice so bad. I think I need me a pair of shades. And a week later, I had me some designer shades. Right?
Wow.
So when you put your mind to something, the universe will respond. And instead of de-educating our children, we need to put our mind to our children's mind.
Hmm.
You know, we can learn from our children. You see, most people, like if you're watching this right now, there's a button right there that you can click and you can get unlimited access to this right here. Like,
Straight up.
you're not talking about the business for a reason because the business is the team. And our products
Exactly.
are people. You see what I'm saying? Our products are people.
Straight
Whoever
up.
this link, they're doing the same thing you're doing, but they're getting paid to do it.
Exactly.
What's stopping you? Oh, because
Hmm.
it's uncomfortable? What? Because it's uncomfortable? Are you
Success
serious?
is right out of your comfort zone. I'm telling you.
Nothing great came from a comfort zone. You think Dr. King was comfortable getting German Shepherds sicked on him? You think
Hmm.
Gandhi was comfortable fighting the same British army that George Washington fought for years with no weapons?
Dang.
You think Caesar was comfortable invading Persia? You think it was comfortable when they put up the Great Wall of China? You think the Egyptians were comfortable when they built the pyramids that still can't be duplicated with modern technology? Why is it that over time things get smarter but people don't?
Oh.
You see, things get smarter but the pyramids stand alone. You,
Hmm.
you think they were comfortable putting up the Stonehenge? Now over
Hmm.
time things get smarter but people don't.
Smartphones with dumb people.
Man, dude, I used to remember everybody's phone number and now I barely know my own.
Hey, that's real, bro. It's just because you had to, you
Right.
know.
You see
Hey,
what I'm
straight up.
So what I
I,
want to bring to children, like my children, is like because I have daycare experience. I hit Teacher
okay,
of the Year, the largest daycare chain in the world. My first 30 days there.
got you.
You know what I mean? And they're like, man, best interactions with his children. How do you do it? Because I'm not a teacher. You see what I'm saying? I'm an educator.
Hmm.
I got an education out of school. How else could I ace the test? I never said I wasn't learning.
Hmm.
How can I not be learning? How can I be a bad example? But I'm the highest test grade that every teacher I've had has ever had,
Hmm.
except for the two that really pissed me off.
He was like, I just don't even care about passing this class.
I could not bring myself to it. I lectured somebody yesterday about saying, I'm more motivated by it. I'm like, an outside source. Are you serious? Don't give the teacher ownership over anything.
Yeah, I remember that.
I couldn't bring me to receive them.
Hmm.
You know, that's really what it is. It's not that they got under my skin. I couldn't put my skin over them.
Oh.
I couldn't touch it. I wouldn't have touched it with a 10-foot pole. Like what? I'm not
It's
Michael
it's
Phelps.
it's a
I'm
wrap,
not
bro.
hopping in that pool.
It's
So for
it,
my children, it's real simple.
got you.
Mindset. When they're growing up, they do good deeds instead of monopoly money. Because one of those things that my mother did, my birth mother did, the greatest gift she gave, one of the few of them I was blessed to receive from her.
Yeah.
Right? And this is just crazy. Like none of this stuff is rehearsed, none of this stuff is written down. This is just as it we find out at the same time.
I got you.
My full blood siblings were too young to really comprehend what was going on, but she used to give us what she called Collins dollars. It was like monopoly money, but it said Collins on it. And so for me, I've always owned money. Money never had his
Hmm.
name on me. Money was never over me. I've always had my name on money. I'm like, yo, there's power in that name, and the name is on money. So
Hmm.
growing up, my name was on money. You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
So when my children are growing up, they're gonna be getting money, but it's gonna have billions of dollars on it. So every time they do something productive and they bring value, it's not about doing their chores, doing what they're supposed to do. It's about them bringing value, because that's really
Exactly.
what you get paid for. Whether you have a business, a job, a homeless person doesn't bring much volume, so they don't get much value brought to them.
Straight up. The homeless people that do get value are like the entertainers or people that can inspire the people that walk around them.
And they wind up getting value brought back to them. You
Exactly.
know? And so as my children bring value, they get rewarded with billions of dollars. It's not a
Beautiful.
task-oriented solution. It's not really about time for dollars, which is the problem with jobs, which is the problem with schools, because people go to college and they talk about how many years it takes, not about how many credit hours to accomplish.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
So
a whole
like
nother mindset.
when I went to school, I went for a semester and I had a 3.82 GPA, and I walked away from it after paying for a full year of private college. I walked away after a semester because they weren't bringing me enough return for my value. I
Hmm.
went to school talking about how many credit hours I need, so let me leave the BS classes. I was taking classes that juniors and seniors take to get their mind ready to go into the role and have impact.
Hmm. I didn't even know that was possible, bro.
It was not supposed to be possible, but they couldn't convince me otherwise. My classmates are going in taking 12 to 15 credit hours, and I'm pissed that they cut me back from 24 to 22.
Hmm.
And I never took class on Friday. You
Got
see
you.
what I'm saying? So, for me, I'm like, well, how many credit hours do I need to accomplish to get this bad boy done? And so many people are conditioned to trade time for results. So my children they can't get rewarded for a task. They can only get rewarded for the purpose.
Hmm.
And when we start rewarding people for the purpose and the purpose in their action instead of the time it takes to fulfill that, then we start to get more motivated people, because if they're not getting rewarded for their time but instead for the action, then they will do more actions in less time so they can get rewarded even more. And then all of a sudden, we start to rebuild the economy. We start to put people in more homes. We build more tables, and we have more tables to get out. Supply and demand, we got a bigger supply and less demand. So now, all of a sudden, inflation starts to reverse itself, and people now get to be happy.
Hmm. I really hope that you guys are getting what he's talking about, 'cause this is profound. Like it's like some of this stuff is so profound it's almost going over my head. It's like at the top of my head. I'm like, damn, I gotta, physically get up a little bit just to catch it. I'm like, man, hold on. But man, I think we can end it with that. So long story short, what are you going to teach your kids, or should I say, how are you educating your kids?
I'm
Because
educating my kids that there's power and purpose in every single action. And you need to take actions that have a powerful purpose and a purpose for empowerment behind every single step.
straight up, and I'm letting them know that I'm programming them soon as they're conceived. Straight up, they're not even going to be formed, and they're going to get subconscious reprogramming telling them. Well, it's not even reprogramming, because
Right.
when you reprogram something, it's because the previous programming was pretty much a mistake, or it was invalid. It was malicious, and really that's what we really are. We're walking around with malicious programming inside of our minds,
Right.
and wondering why we can't manifest our desires. But we
Yep.
can easily and naturally manifest our desires now. And like I said, mentally manufacture massive momentum in moments, because it's possible. We can. So, I'm not even going to tell you to click the button below and join with us, because, like I said before, as you find yourself being the right person, you've already clicked the link below. You've already, put out your credit card. You've already signed up. You've already, you know, joined our dream team. You joined Team Wealth Whisper, mixed with the Inspired Minds. You've joined us, and you've made a decision to run, because we're not here to crawl. We're not here to walk. Matter of fact, we're not here to jog. We're not even here to run. We're here to marathon. We're here to be here for the long run. We're marathoning to a spaceship so we can just blast off and go to another galaxy, another universe, because it's a wrap. So on that note,
Hey, people.
begin teaching yourself something better, becoming something better, and educate your children. And not even just your children. Educate everybody that you can. Like, as many people as humanly possible. I want you to share this with all the people you possibly can now. And make sure you enjoy your day, night. It's 2:25 a.m. right now. And it's a wrap. So on that note, shout out to the universe. Expect wealth now, not later. And let's inspire and uplift the people. Found the boy Terrence say he has a one-liner for you, so go ahead, bro.
Real quick, Brandon Bircher said, Brandon gets asked all the time about how to reprogram their mind. He said, I can't help you reprogram something that was never programmed in the first place. That's the thought.
Ooh.
And I just want to let everybody know, all right? It's Terrence A. Collins Jr., a.k.a. the social media hype man, a.k.a. Mr. Inspired Mind. I'm taking my glasses off so you can see it's real. We're on the,
Hmm.
we're here right now to help get you from where you are to where you want to be, where you deserve to be, where you are going to get to. All right? And the only thing standing between you and that is you got to ask yourself this question. When are you going to be ready to join our team right now? All right? When are you going to be ready to join our team right now? Because right now, when you're ready, we're ready to help.
Hmm.
So I need you to do is I need you to click that button at the bottom of the screen. I need you to fill out your information. As soon as you're in, we're going to get an email, and we're going to reach out to you. We're going to make a connection, and we're going to start helping you have success today. All right. The only
Definitely.
thing standing between you and success, it's not the button. It's you asking yourself, when are you gonna be ready to start right now?
Straight up.
That way, right now, when you start, we'll be ready to help you.
When now are you ready to make a decision to join with us and work with us? Because we're right here for you. And on that note, 227, I'm not even gonna lie, we stayed up to like 5 or 6. We were on the 8 hour. The hangout we had last night, I was only able to hang for 8 hours. He went in for 10 hours. So, when you decide that you want just an absolutely insane, inspired, action packed, value packed experience, just click the link below, join, let's make it happen.